so that you can understand the format that we will be using. Each of the candidates will be given 1 minute for an opening statement. And then after that, they will be asked a question that will be coming from our three panelists. We do want to, at this point, acknowledge that Kyle Mothershead will be asking questions on behalf of the juvenile court judge who is not here. And they will each will have 1 minute to respond. We'll kind of rotate as to how we will begin with that. And so our first question, and I also want to acknowledge that as we're asking the question, this lovely lady, Carla West, who is sitting there, will have a card. She's not going to give you a warning. If she raises the card, your 1 minute is up. And we ask that you be respectful of that so that each of us will have an opportunity. So we're going to start with an opening introduction. You have 1 minute to introduce yourself. And we will start with the House race, House 54, and we'll start with the first candidate here.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I praise God, and I'm thankful to be here. Thankful you invited me to speak. My name is John Smith, but my friends call me Big John. I'm a native of Nashville. I'm a husband and a father. Been married to my wife for 30 years, and we have 1 child. I come from a family of law enforcement. My grandfather and father were Metro policemen here, and we have been serving. Our family has served this public for almost since 1948. One of the things that I'm very proud to do is be a public servant. I'm here today because I want to continue to serve the public as a legislature, and I'm humbly asking for your vote.
Good afternoon. My name is Vincent Dixie. I'm running for state representative for District 54. I am a native of Nashville as well. I graduated from Tennessee State University. I have an accounting degree and an MBA. I own my own business, which I started with the money in my pocket, and I proudly have 6 offices and a little over 20 people that work for me. I've also been married for 19 years and have 2 daughters, Noelle and Hannah Maria. They're 11 and 13, and they give me all that I can handle. And I want to run for this office because I know that just like everyone up here, we really want to see a better community. We want to serve our community. We know that we can do something special, and we have an opportunity to do it here. And I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with everyone here, to talk with my colleagues here, and hopefully get to know us a little bit better. Again, my name is Vincent Dixie, State Representative for District 54.
Good afternoon. I want to thank the Sheriff's Department and the employees, especially the Sheriff's Department, for having another of these Lifecycle conferences. I appreciate that. My name is Scott Davis. I'm candidate for House Seat 54. I'm also Councilman Scott Davis. And I love this community. And if it wasn't for the Black church and the Black press and the Black college, I'd be nothing. I'm a native of Nashville, graduated from Hillwood High School. My child, Michaela Davis, and my wife, Kelly Davis, we've been a family for over 15 years. And I just want to thank all of you for me being here. And on the state level, we need to increase health care, we need to increase protection of women, and we also need to continue fighting for the social justice issues. And more importantly, we need to increase the minimum wage, because we're not paying our people enough here in this city, especially our Metro employees. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brenda Gilmore, and have the honor of serving previously as a Metro Councilwoman for 8 years, state representative for the past 12 years, and also a Democratic Executive Committee woman. I hope to earn your vote. I'm on the August 2nd ballot. I've been in the trenches with my community fighting injustice for those who don't have a voice and cannot speak for themselves, fighting for equal rights for women, for working class and poor people, and for seniors. I want to take that same passion and experience that I've earned as a Metro Councilwoman and as a state representative and take it to the Senate. I'm ready to serve on day one. On that second Tuesday in January 2019, if you give me the honor of being your state senator, when I raise my hand, I'm ready to take off my high heels and put on my tennis shoes and start working to improve the quality of life of all Tennesseans. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Howard Jones, State Senate candidate, District 19. Born and raised here in Nashville, Tennessee. In fact, born and raised down the street, Preston Taylor, 3510 Indiana Avenue. Born and raised and cultivated in South Court with my parents, B.O. and Barbara Jean, fed the community. Born and raised and prepared to serve, where I saw surely the atrocities of our community, and I still see some of it, but then I saw some glimmer of hope with the Avon Williams and the Joe Kelsos and with Pastor Sweeney's, who used to absolutely give themselves. I have served as a probation officer at juvenile court for over 10 years, where I'm prepared to understand a justice system that's sometimes not so justice. I am prepared as an educator in the school system for over 25 years. I've taught at MOK, been a principal. I want to serve. My name is Howard Jones, and I am indeed the best candidate for this position.
Good afternoon. My name is George Thomas, and I'm the candidate for State Senate District 19. I humbly come before you because I believe that everyone should try to make a difference. I'm running because I have made a difference. My entire life has been dedicated to helping families offset obstacles and avoid pitfalls to get to the station. I'm running for State Senate District 19, and I ask for your prayers and I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Sheriff Hall, D.A. Funk, and representative here for the juvenile court. Ruben Doctor is my name, and you won't see me on the August 7th ballot. That's because I'm running as an independent in November. If you get shot, you get robbed, you get mugged, doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican, you want somebody to come to your rescue, don't you? Best choice you have to have rescue and change in 2018, you won't find Hickory, you won't find Dickory, but you'll find Dockery. That's Ruben Dockery, Tennessee Senate District 19.
Thank each of you for your introductions. Our first question will be for the senatorial candidates, and it will be asked by Sheriff Darren Hall.
Okay, thank you very much. By the way, I want to thank all of you for giving your time and your willingness to serve. And for those of us that run for office, it's a difficult process, and I always appreciate everybody who's willing to put their name on the ballot and improve their community. So thank you for running, and also thank you for being here. A lot of us are here in what we call the criminal justice arena and other areas of our community, and so I feel honored to have you all here trying to help educate us. Nashville's unique, this is for the senatorial candidates, in that the sheriff's office doesn't arrest people. A lot of people, my mother doesn't even understand that, but the police department do. And we have an unofficial motto in the sheriff's office that says that the police arrest the person, and we're trying to arrest the problem. If you were the sheriff tomorrow, what would you do to try to arrest the problem? The person's already with you. What do you think the problems might be that we can start to work on once the person has been brought to us? We'll start with the start. Yeah, sorry. Brenda Gilmore.
Thank you for the question, and thank you for your work too as an elected official. I appreciate that. I think that I had the honor of serving as president of the Tennessee Black Caucus, and we had a hearing, and we had people to come in and talk to us about the impact of incarceration and how it affects the community. Most of us think that when someone goes to prison, it only affects that person, but it affects the family and it affects the entire community. And one of the things that I heard that day that really resonated was that about 70% of the young people who are in juvenile facilities have mental and emotional issues. So, and I think that carries on even to the adult population. So I think that we have to, as a community, to figure out what our priorities are. It costs about $37,000 a year to house a prisoner. We only dedicate about $10,000 for a student. So we need to take those funds and resources and put it on the front end, and I think we'll reduce our crime in the city and rehabilitate our prisoners. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your service. Thank you for your thought and your intellect in terms of servicing our community. As a probation officer at juvenile court, I saw our children actually not being serviced as they should, because when there's a disconnect between education and incarceration, then you lose a person. So, and I also deal with children, adults in the community, where sometimes they just want to get out of the cold and they come to you. They'll break through the window just to get to you. So with the services that we ought to indeed develop in this great city, for instance, General Hospital with Harry, utilizing them to take care of mental health patients that are in your facility. That's not your job. Our job is to help in this city so that we can be better. We can be better. That's why I'm running for state senate, so that we can indeed help correct the problem and not be a part of it.
Thank you, Sheriff Hall. Again, my name is George Thomas. We have to be clear that the arrest comes first when you're in handcuffs. The Guardian Angels of Nashville patrol Davidson County, and they help keep neighborhoods safe. When we have a situation where a person has taken a car, a person has committed a crime, whatever the person has done to break the law, the rehabilitation efforts that go into the person, that they come back out on a better playing field, on a better level, is what we mean by arresting the problem. We can't simply lock up a person and throw away the key. What we ought to do, and what we should do more of, is to make sure that we have a holistic approach to make sure that everyone take a community approach to make sure that we all live in this community together, or we can all thrive in this community together. And it starts with education, not only the child, but the family. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis.
I'm gonna give him a couple of minutes, a couple of my seconds here. I heard your speech today. As a social scientist, I've concluded that when you deal with criminality, there's a socialization element. And that's what we have to deal with. We have to be honest and focused about that. And that's what you're talking about. As a state legislator, what I aim to do is to proffer needed legislation to help you do that thing. Because it's not popular, and sometimes there's money to be made in the criminal justice system. We may be cutting some of it out, but if we have the right legislation and the right focus, then we can make a difference to reduce the recidivism rate and to make sure that we can meet the needs of those that come to you buck naked, like the gentleman you talked about earlier today.
Wow. I just want the audience to know, while maybe not the specific question was sent, questions were phrased for the candidates in advance. And because of that, we're going to, while she was not here to hear the question, we will allow Ms. Moore an opportunity to respond to Sheriff Hall's question.
Did you want to repeat the question or you just want to answer it?
I'm going to let you answer the question.
Well, I just want to say that, again, I know that the work that you do, Sheriff Hall, at your facility. I had, some years ago, had a chance to visit your facility, and I saw what you did to at least rehabilitate. And so, I'm in counseling, and so I look at the overall care. I know that you're going to be opening up a crisis care center, which is great for, mental health patients. And so therefore, when you're looking at assessments, for that particular prisoner, you want to look at what else can you do to engage him back into the community. And that again means safety planning, treatment planning, involving the family. So again, it's not necessarily arresting the person, address the problem as well. Thank you. Again, I'm sorry, I just got off the road, been working.
Next question will come to the House candidates, and we'll start with Mr. Mothershead and the first responder.
So this is again from the juvenile court judge, Jim Calloway. So we know from scientific research that the human brain really doesn't fully mature until age 25. Years ago, the Supreme Court of the United States recognized that it would be unconscionable to execute people for acts they committed as children, in part because they do not have mature control of their faculties. And so the question is, in Tennessee, juvenile court jurisdiction caps out at age 19. The juvenile court does not have the time to work with young people that it needs in order to achieve rehabilitation. Because we all know, and I know from personal experience, that you do stupid stuff when you're 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, and some kids ruin their lives at that age. And so the question for the candidates is, would you support, or better yet, sponsor legislation to raise the age limit on juvenile court jurisdiction to 25?
Rephrase that question.
Would you support, or better yet, sponsor legislation to raise the age limit on juvenile court jurisdiction over a youthful offender up to age 25? The age when the brain develops.
To answer that question, I believe so. Because as a human being, I didn't grow up to, at least I was over 25 years old, because life has shown me experiences that matured my mind. So yes, sir, I would sponsor legislation.
That's okay. Well, thank you. My name is Vincent Dixie, and I would agree that I would definitely sponsor a bill like that. Stopping doing silly or stupid things at 21 is pretty, that's a safe thing to say, because I think a lot of us went way past that number, including me. I have a quick question, a quick story about one of my friends. He was 22 years old, and he did something, he was with a guy when he did something that he wasn't supposed to do. And he was in jail for 3 months, but of course it comes to the thing where, hey, you can get out of jail today if you plead guilty to this felony. He's 22 years old, and so you can go home today or you can take it to trial. You might face 10 years. The only thing he was guilty of was being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, since we were 22, I'll be 45 in a couple of weeks. He hasn't had as much as a speeding ticket since then. But this scarlet letter F follows him around for the rest of his life. So imagine if you did raise that to 21, 25, and he was able to get some counseling and get some parental and some community involvement, how his life would be different. But so yes, at the end of the day, I would definitely sponsor that legislation. Thank you.
And we can expunge at least 1, maybe 2 felonies now, and we decrease the price. Thank you for our state representative, Harold Love, Brittany Gilmore, and others. So now we can do 2 felonies now. So if they charge him with an extra one and he can get it done, he can just go to Howard Gentry's office and get that F off his record. But this is what I would do. Yes, I would increase the age. However, there's a key thing. How are we going to fund it? Because if we increase it to 25, we're going to need more counselors, more staff, and more resources. And looking at department heads here and seeing a department head out here, Madam Assessor, a lot of you, okay, that's a great idea. And I'm supporting, I will do legislation. How do we fund it? On the state level, this is how we do it so you can fund it here locally. The state tells us how much we can tax certain things, how much fees we charge somebody, for dumping trash. I will give a mechanism so you can tax the scooters and the scooter program to pay for that. Thank you. That's the bird scooters.
Our next question will come from General Funk, and the first one to respond will be Howard Jones.
Thank you very much. Appreciate St. James for hosting this today. I wanted to point out, just in case nobody saw him enter, but gubernatorial candidate Craig Fitzhugh is here with us today. And for someone who is running for that office, and is 2 weeks away from election day, to be spending a couple hours here with this community, I think is significant, and I appreciate your being here. Thank you very much. Also, Vivian Wellhoy, who's up for re-election in 2020, is here, and she wants me to always recidivism is a big problem. Too many times the justice system turns into a revolving door where people get in trouble, either get on probation or get incarcerated for a while, get out, don't have any supports in the community, don't have any supports legislatively. In fact, hurdles have been placed in their way to being successful citizens once they get done with their sentence. Gerald Brown is here, who's the executive director of DCSO. He's boots on the ground. I appreciate the DCSO. DCSO, for those of you who don't know, works with folks who have just recently been incarcerated and gotten out, and provides them housing and counseling and job skills, and helps give them any kind of support they need in order to make sure that they transition successfully. But my question to you, Senate candidates, is what have you done personally, professionally, or legislatively to help reduce recidivism, and what do you think you can do in the Senate to help reduce recidivism?
Thank you for that question. This is why I'm running for state senate. One, we created Kingdom Cafe and Grill. And not only did we give them a second chance of employment, we also have indeed given them opportunity to do HVAC systems and then creating jobs. There's an older gentleman that just got out of prison, and he stays in one of our affordable housing. I went and talked with him, sat with him, had a conversation with him about his life and how he wants to get it together. If our faith-based organizations, we had leadership that would begin to encourage all the churches, Pastor, I appreciate you indeed allowing us to be here, but if we would take on one, just one, coming out to keep them from going back to that same old system, it would stop the recidivism. And second, we need to have a common sense approach to education. Everybody's not going to college. Everybody don't want to go to college. But we need a common sense approach to education. What I would bring to you, a vote for Howard Jones would mean a vote for common sense education where our students would be not just career ready, they would be also college ready. I'm running for state senate because we're the best candidate.
Mr. Thomas, Mr. Doctor.
General Fund, repeat the question, please.
The short version is, what will you do legislatively to reduce recidivism amongst our folks who have been involved in the justice system, and or what have you done personally already to this point to help reduce recidivism?
I want to start by explaining this is a larger problem and a complex problem. For the last 17 years, I've dedicated my life and mission to helping young people see what life looks like after graduation. Case in point, we set out with a goal of 100 kids to graduate from high school. Every 30 seconds, a kid drops out of high school and they take shortcuts. Those shortcuts oftentimes lead them to the guardian angels of MPS, and they have records, they get caught up. But I saw a different path. It's hard to be what you cannot see. So I set out with 100 kids to make 100 high school graduates. That program has now exceeded over 20,000 high school graduates. 15,000 young people have actually gone to college or trade school,
and they emulate people like Governor-elect Craig Fixu. They emulate people like Rich Drilling, the CEO of Dollar General. We have to invest more in young people, and that's what I've done, that's what I continue to do, and we need to do that in a way that makes sense for everybody to get involved. Thank you.
I run a non-profit organization, Building Families and Communities Missions Incorporated, since 1998, and that's been our core function. Used to be a supervisor at Woodland Hills Youth Development Center, which is a detention facility, especially a teacher in the metro schools, as well as a pastor for the last 22 years. All of those things have brought me to my crime intervention advocacy model, which is what I'm looking to bring legislation to bring to bear, and that deals just with the root cause of criminal behavior. And those are the variables that lead to it from birth to the time you have to deal with them in the criminal justice system.
This one's working.
In answer to your question, to reduce the recidivism is based on workforce readiness programs that is already in existence. However, we need to increase more funding for that. We need to increase more funding for reentry preparation programs in order for the people that are coming out, also to prepare them to come out into the workforce. I mean, in order for them to do that, you have to have programs on the inside as well. And so if you're doing that and they're coming out, so they should already be prepared somewhat. So in other words, I would like to see legislation or more funding for workforce readiness program and reentry preparation programs as well. Thank you.
Our next question will be for, I'm sorry.
That's an excellent question. Every day in the state of Tennessee, we have over 100,000 people that are in prison or either on probation. And many of those people are there simply because they didn't have the money and couldn't get adequate representation. And so it's really a crime on our part that we're sending people to prison for minor offenses when we could come up with some alternative sentencing. And one of the bills, you asked what I've done previously, one of the bills that I sponsored was called a primary care bill. And basically it says if you're a caregiver of children, rather than the judge sending you to prison, if it's a minor offense, then they would give you alternative sentencing, such as education, you would take vocational education, they would assist you with housing, because that's one of the problems, and that's why a lot of people go into prisons, because they don't have adequate housing or education. So that's one of the things. We also reduced the expungement fee from $350,000 to $180. It makes it easy, and just this year we've expunged over 1,000 records in the community.
Thank you. This next question is for the House candidates. We'll start with Scott Davis in this direction. This comes from the community. What are your thoughts on supporting reentry programs from the state level?
I support them, but also we always have to look at it, not just supporting it, but make sure we have the votes to pass it and we have the funding mechanism. Every solution, we're going to increase funds for education, we're going to increase health care, and we're going to increase reentry programs. Also, we're going to look at other forms of legislation which go after and help with, getting rid of the prison pipeline, and more importantly also, getting rid of, the money bail issues here in the state. And what we have to do is give the local governments the power and the finances to look at this. On the state level, that's what we have to do. And on the state level, we have to give power back to you to make those decisions. You know, hey, here's the funding. I'm not going to tie your hands anymore when you want to charge an extra 50 cents on every bird, scooter, or every Lyft ride. And giving that power back to you and funding it are the solutions to getting it done.
Thank you. My name is Vincent Dixie. On that question, I actually have a unique bird's eye view of that because I own a bail bonding company, so I see people on the front end, they go to jail and get out, and it's a circular thing. We get families, we get the uncles, the aunts, the brothers, the cousins, the sisters, and there definitely has to be a reentry program that's needed, but there has to be more services involved in that because at the end of the day, when they reentry, where are they going back to? The community that they victimize or the community that they're used to have created that environment for them to thrive in or to get in trouble in. So you have to get everyone involved. It has to be a family. Everything right here goes back to is family. It's family. We have to build the families. So if you have a strong family unit, you don't have to worry about coming back out. I've personally had family members that have been incarcerated. Sometimes they go back on that train and go back in, but it's not for a lack of family support. It's just sometimes people just get in trouble. But I do support that. But if 9 times out of 10, if you do give them that support, they will accept it and move on.
On this matter, personally, I think it needs to be funded for people to come back into the community. However, we can go other avenues. We can go to the private sector. There's a lot of industry moving in here to Tennessee. Perhaps we can convince them to help us with funding so people can go back into the community again. That is what I believe about that.
Our next question also will be for the House candidates, and it'll come from Sheriff Hall. And we'll start with Mr. Gibson.
Yeah, okay, this is not as complicated, but let me see if I can talk in my language, because I've written it and you guys may have read it. I'm very interested in trying to deal with decriminalizing mental illness. And really what that means to me, and I'm not saying this is defined anywhere, is that we're trying to find a way to get a person who's mentally ill, who may be doing something unusual or abnormal, out of the police cars and out of the jails. So this question, which would be at the state level, has to do with this. Tennessee is one of 4 states that does not allow what is called AOT. And it basically means that if a person who is non-compliant on mental illness or on their medication for mental illness, that we as a community, courts or others, can order a person to receive mental health treatment, even if they don't necessarily want it. So the complication or the political risk issue here, as you can imagine, is we're one of 4 states who don't allow that. But for the criminal justice system who's trying to decriminalize it, let me tell you what happens tonight at 2 in the morning when the police make the arrest of a naked man in the park who hasn't been on medication for 2 months, and they're going to charge him with whatever the charges are. When they arrive with him at 2 in the morning into the booking room of your city, we're trying to decriminalize it. And if he says, I don't want any mental health treatment, I want to go here, go back in the criminal justice system, we can't do anything but send him to jail. Other states have found ways around that. And so it's written fancy, but here's really what we're talking about. Would you support an opportunity for our state to explore what is called AOT, or actually outpatient treatment required by courts?
Thank you. Yes, I would definitely support that because especially if there's a history, they have a history of taking medicine and they haven't taken it. Especially in the Black community, mental illness has a bad stigma about it, has a bad connotation, and probably I don't think they're touched a little bit. And so, but my thing is that we have to get past that stigma that it's okay to get treatment, it's okay to ask for help. My wife, she's a teacher at an elementary school and pre-K through 4th school. And believe me, there are parents that do not give their kids their children medicine, and it affects their day. It affects how others trying to learn in there. So it can start there, but I think we have to also find an overall way. How do we make society better as a whole in trying to do this. But yes, that is a great idea. I think that's something I can get behind. Not something I can get behind, something I will get behind. Like I said, we have to find a way that if there is documented proof that you're supposed to be taking medicine and you're not taking it, and it definitely changes your behavior, you definitely need to be involved in that program as an adult and figure out a way to make it happen in schools.
Thank you. Mr. Davis.
Yes, I'm in full support of that. Because no matter what, if you're in violation of court orders, you're supposed to go to your hotel sheriff and get brought in, or if you have a warrant. I'd much rather be enforcing someone taking their medication so they can be a parent, so they can go to work, and they can be a productive member of society and not have to visit your hotel sheriff. And one thing, though, we have to focus on is that's why it's so important that we expand Medicaid to help get those mental health services. And also, not just on top of that, what we do, and this is one thing I learned in Metro Council, when there's money available from the state rep, which I will do, is let Metro know when there's money for help, for mental health, for law enforcement, and for corrections, I will let you know, Sheriff. And when there's money for other programs, I will let the community know. Lots of times, we are so busy sometimes that there's funding up there that we forget about. But I'm in support of that, Sheriff. Thank you.
Sheriff Hoffman. You know, my friends, I forgot to say that I'm a deputy sheriff.
What's up?
I worked in the correctional settings, and if you work there a long time, you get to know that some people don't belong there. Sheriff Hall, I would say this: this treatment, when incarcerating a person costs the taxpayers money. Now, if they were to go along with this court order, they would take their medicine. It will reduce them coming back, the recidivist, I believe that's the name for it. It will reduce them from coming back to the jails. It will reduce hospitalization. It will reduce victimization. And it will reduce the cost of hospitalization. I believe I would support that program. Matter of fact, I would propose legislation that would give funding because it would take a lot of burden off the taxpayers.
We'll just keep the mic on this end and we'll let Ms. Moore respond to the question from Mr. Mumsey.
We all know that an education is essential for any child to thrive and to have a good life as an adult. In Tennessee, we have what are called zero tolerance laws. We've had them for a couple of decades. We've spent a lot of today talking about the importance of why. Why did things happen? Why did people make mistakes? Solving them. Zero tolerance laws don't care why. All zero tolerance laws care about is, did you do something wrong? Did you bring the drugs to school? If so, you're out. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what's going on with you that day, doesn't matter what's happening in your life. Gone for a year. See you next year. And so we would submit that zero tolerance laws are the antithesis of getting to root causes. They're dehumanizing and destructive, and they are causing children to be put out of school and causing children to end up in the criminal justice system. And so the question is, would you support or better yet sponsor legislation to eliminate zero tolerance expulsions and let school districts decide how to handle misconduct by students?
I mean, that's a very, easy question. And, yes, I would support legislation for zero tolerance laws. And I know that there is already some existing. And also, I want to add that, in order to reduce that, we have to look at maybe, putting mental health counselors. I would like to see that in every school. And I know that's going to take a lot of funding. So in order to reduce that, you would have to look at, what that, the overall, again, we have to look at the overall care of that particular child and what is causing all of these problems to increase this number. But to answer your question, of course I would sponsor legislation, but I also would like to increase funding for mental health counselors as well in every school. Thank you.
we'll just stop, and we'll pass it out. Ms. Gilmore, if you respond.
Thank you, and again, that's a great question. In fact, in Davidson County, we have more little black boys that are suspended than anybody, any other class of population. And I think that we can reduce that. I would sponsor, and I would support it, and I would vote for it to make the answer. I do think that we need more teacher training so that our teachers will be more inclined to recognize the differences in our culture. Sometimes what they view, some teachers view as aggression is just the home environment a child has come out of. So I think that they need to be culturally sensitive to that. I think also that local government and district should have more say-so in how their districts are run. And also, I think that the teachers should have more autonomy in determining and not just have a fast set law that applies to everyone, because every situation is unique and different, and the teacher should make that assessment.
Well, this is what I do. And I've been in education for some time. And I've seen the laws change. And I've seen SEL increase in our school system. And I've seen also the law has already been adjusted. Even this year, with MNPS, for students that are suspended from school, they are being required to attend an alternative learning center. But it should not be an alternative learning center. It should not be a place where kids are just placed to become worse. We should hold them accountable. Teachers, assist them, and indeed teach our kids. We need to not ask kids, what's wrong with you, but what happened? And begin to process that. I've seen our young boys absolutely disproportionately, they're lagging behind. We disaggregate the information concerning proficiency. And we've got to do better. But we've got to also make sure that it's community celebrated. We need to come together with the parent and help the parent be a part of the school and help them to know that they're part of the school. But social emotional learning is necessary. I think we're on the path. I think Metro Nashville schools are on the path. And the zero tolerance piece has indeed been decreased. If you look at the history of what we've done, for those who don't know, it's decreasing. And the schools that I've absolutely run and dealt with, I have indeed decreased suspensions and expulsions. Thank you for listening.
This is the point where the rubber actually meets the road. What we're not talking about is that 1 in 3 persons, and specifically we're talking about young persons, has a mental disorder. And we're talking about a person that has not been diagnosed, has not been made aware that they have a problem. And so, yes, I would support the opportunity to make sure that our young people have the best resources available. But we have to be mindful that it has a price tag. And we have to be mindful that what is a life worth? What is your life worth? If it's your child, what would you do for your child? We're not talking about the budget. We're not talking about something abstract. We're talking about a human being, and we need to address it like a human being so we can fix the problem. Thank you.
In addressing that, I would approach in such legislation. I would work very closely with the governing body, the school board, to streamline their policies first, so that we don't override what they're doing, because they are an elected body. And so what we want to do is to make sure that any legislation is commensurate with the needs of everybody that it'll affect. And so that zero tolerance vary from case to case. And that's when you look at the history of it, that's why it was in place. But everybody should not necessarily be punished if their behaviors does not meet the threshold for that punishment. So there is a lot of room there, but again, I would make sure first we work with that deliberative body of the school board.
Our next question comes to the House candidates, and it's from Joan Funk.
Thank you. What we have seen as a culture over the last 10 to 20 years is that more and more people feel the need to go armed. And not surprising then that when you introduce guns into a day-to-day life situation where sometimes altercations happen, we have seen a spike in violent acts, violent crime. Our murder rate in the last 4 years has gone up significantly, almost double. It's a real problem, especially in the cities, major cities in Tennessee, and especially here in Nashville. My question to you is, what legislation can you propose that could decrease the amount of times that people feel the need to carry a weapon, decrease gun possession, while at the same time honoring the Second Amendment?
We'll go in the order of Dixie, Smith, Davis.
All right, I'm Vincent Dixie. I do believe in the carry law. I think that we can strengthen those laws and have some more requirements to get those that carry permit. There should be more training involved. There should be a mental evaluation that goes along. I think right now what we do, it is pretty easy to get a gun, you go sign a piece of paper, they do a background check, and then be out of there. As far as getting the guns off the streets, I think you, like you said, when the Sheriff Hall talked about, we have to arrest the problem. They say, why do we feel the need to carry these guns? That's a big issue right there. And how do we address that? I think it's going to be one person at a time. I think we do have the amnesty programs where you can give guns back, you can do things that way. But at the end of the day, unless you find a way, we would have to find some legislation to propose that I really don't know how to answer that question, to be honest, because that's a cart before the horse. That's a real question. Because but I do believe in the Second Amendment. I do believe in responsible gun ownership. But that's a tough one. And I think that's something that we have to work with and try to work with proposing legislation to get that done.
Thank you. Mr. Smith?
Mr. Dixie, you are correct. There's no way to answer it because I don't believe there's a law that a person can write that can make a person not do evil. I'm a supporter of the Second Amendment. I know why people carry weapons. And there are a lot of responsible, law-abiding citizens that carry them. The reason why they're carrying them is because of the people that want to commit evil. So you have to protect yourself. That is why that is in the Bill of Rights. Thank you.
There's no reason for anybody to have an AR-15 or assault rifles for home protection. If you need an AR-15, well, most people have a shotgun and a pistol in their home for home protection. You need to pay your drug debts or your gambling debts. That's what you worry about, because the Marines aren't coming to get you. Second end of it, I want to create a law that gives a tax rebate or incentive that gives women back money when they take self-defense courses. And when your daughters and even your sons take a boxing program, and when your children and the women of the household take a self-defense program, they get a rebate or some sort of tax incentives or a write-off. That's important. I've talked to folks on the federal and the state level about that. And more importantly, we need to increase safety classes for women, because I believe more minorities and women need to carry guns safely and not AR-15s.
If you'll pass the mic. What, we got one on that end. And this last question is for the Senate candidates, and we'll start with Mr. Dockery. Let us know, what is it that you have been doing to help those who re-enter into society from jail, prison, to better themselves? And how, if elected, what you have been doing, how will that be enhanced?
Okay. I have about 250 case files over the last 15 years, sir, that I've been working with young people. And the truth of the matter is, they have to do it for themselves. Legislatively, I would provide opportunities to address the root cause that lead individuals to get into these type of circumstances. Okay? You're not born in jail. I like the way Sheriff put it, it's time out. It's time out for grown folk though. If you learn young how to be in order, you can avoid the criminal justice system. Never have to see DA Funk or sheriff or the police. That would be my focus, to provide substantive, readable legislation to support that type of education and training, particularly in voting precincts where you have the highest incident of criminal activity. I respectfully disagree. What we have here in this situation is that we have to look at what are we doing to cause these problems. And I said, what are we doing? Every person that commits an atrocity, commits a crime, comes from the family. And if we not invest in the family, if we not invest in the community, we not solving the problem. Case in point, in 2006, I went to Ross Alderman's office, the late public defender. I was having issues with parent engagement. And I talked to Ross and I said, Attorney Alderman, I would like to do something to get parents involved. And what he agreed to do was to put on free legal clinics. The legal clinics consist of 3 things: driver's license reinstatements, basic constitutional rights, and expungements. We have overwhelming support from parents. You have to meet parents where they are so they can get to where they're trying to go. And that's how you do it. We have to do it in tandem and partnership with our organizations that already work.
Thank you. Mr. Jones.
Thank you very much. What I've done, definitely, we put them to work. Second, we have helped them in terms of just feeding them, clothing them, and sheltering them. What we've done is organize people to go to the mission and indeed encourage them to be, indeed, help them in the faith-based organization. What we do and have done is we've educated our kids to keep them from going in that particular path. What we need to do is continue to applaud Howard Gentry for all of the expungements that he's done, and also enact legislation where it would be easier, instead of having them to come and find him, so they can sign a note for Howard Gentry and a judge to indeed have these expungements done. If a person has paid their debt, paid their fees, let us sponsor legislation where it would be automatic, so these persons won't run around the city thinking they are absolutely felons. They made a mistake. They paid their debt. Let us go forward. Let's quit imprisoning people to their past and give them a future. Thank you.
Thank you again for that question. Some of the things that I've been involved in is conducting a felony-friendly job fair in which about 3,000 people showed up. I think most people's perception is that people who go to prison are just deadbeats. But these are people who have paid their price to society and they honestly want to work. So we invited employers who was open to hiring people with previous felonies. There's a group of volunteers called Justice for All, and again, working in conjunction with Mr. Gentry, we've expunged over 1,000 records, felony records. I personally sponsored and passed Ban the Box, so that when people, this gives individuals a second chance. When they commit a crime and they go in for an interview, the employer cannot ask them, have you committed a crime or do you have a felony? This gives a person an opportunity to get in to sell themselves. And then we've reduced the cost of expungement from $350 to $150. I think what is needed though is a bill where all the crimes related to that one traffic stop is expunged. Because sometimes when the police stop you, you end up with 6 or 7 crimes and offenses based on that one stop.
All my colleagues said, some very good choices here. And the main thing is just educating those persons who are, again, re-entering into society. We have to enhance it by, again, workforce readiness program. And the only way that we can do that is to pass legislation in order to get these people out to work. I have worked in my church just to, do activities within that way make sure that those persons are understanding what is going on, so that they can know where to go for the resources in order to get the help that they need. So, thank you.
When I was asked to be the moderator by Mr. Hunter, he gave me a script and he told me, whatever you do, don't deviate from the script. But I've got a special request that came in from the sheriff. And so in case I get arrested, I want an extra piece of butter on my bread. I'm going to honor the sheriff's request.
Well, I asked Mr. Dixon to do it. To lighten this up, help us make our vote real quick, 5 seconds. I want to know where you bought the best meatloaf. You had to pay for it. You didn't cook it yourself. Best meatloaf that I can drive in 30 minutes and get.
Kingdom Cafe.
Gotta get everybody.
I'm a chef. Come to George Thomas' house. Unfortunately, chef, I'm a vegetarian. I can't help you with that.
You are always invited to my sister's house. She makes the best meatloaf, green potatoes, and cabbage together.
Sheriff, my wife's cousin. You know anybody else? I do not like meatloaf, but she made some meatloaf that made me keep eating. What it was stuffed meatloaf. It had sausages. It had onions. I couldn't stop eating it. So, sir, anytime you want something, I will make sure I get you that.
I would have to say Little C's only.
That you have to pay, right? My wife Kelly makes the best meatloaf in the world. So you can come on over, but I gotta ask her permission first. I know you're the sheriff, but you know, there's God, my wife, you, and the police chief and the DA, okay?
I would say Little C's too. It's the cheapest and it's delicious. But I also make a good meatloaf. I make it out of turkey. It's healthy.
Well, Sheriff, I'm going to say, after the delicious lunch that we had in this place this day, that you might be in the place and you don't have to go 30 minutes. And so we indeed thank you for the hospitality and the food in this place. And I also want to thank for us, first of all, for all of our candidates to give these people a hand for their willingness. They've been here all day, but they are engaging and wanting to hear from you. And now I want to ask you all to give them, as was already mentioned, the election is a week away. I am sure that they have got a lot of hands they need to shake, doors they need to, but they came and spent time because the issue that we are addressing today and in this place is a critical one. And so I do hope and I encourage to each of you, regardless of the outcome that happens and whether or not you're elected, your voices and your participation in this community around this issue is important because it needs all of our engagement for us to make the condition better. Thank each of you for coming.